ever to me. When he became a Ranger, I was just like, oh my God, this is worse than Yager. I can't deal with it. And Lindros may have came first for all I know. I don't remember, but it just...
They both showed up around that same period where the Rangers were just like buying every kind of washed-up star that they could.
Yeah, they were just pouring good money after bad for reasons beyond comprehension. But I don't want to digress too far down that rabbit hole.
Did they sign Bobby Holik for like $40 million or something?
I don't remember what the price was, but they had Bobby Holik. There was, over the years, there was Holik, Yager, Lindros. Who else did they bring in?
They had Shanahan, I think.
Yeah.
Gretzky.
Well, Gretzky, that was before. He was back in the late 90s or mid to late 90s. But, I think Brendan Shanahan was there for a while. It was that era where they were trying to be the Yankees and just buy a Stanley Cup.
They were trying to hold on to the relevancy that they got from the 94 Cup that they never got close to being at again.
No.
Which, by the way, that 94 Cup presentation is amazing just because Mark Messier goes insane when he gets the cup.
It's like, Mark, you haven't ever won 4 cups before that?
I'm pretty sure you've got 4 of these.
Didn't he have 5 before that? Because he got the 4. He had 5. He had 5 with the Oilers, right?
Yeah. So this was a 6th Stanley Cup, but he just looked absolute like he looked like he had just gone crazy. He just starts laughing like a Batman villain.
I guess he just really hated Vancouver until he played there. Anyway.
But yeah, let's move on to something else because
you guys want to touch on the Richie Incognito thing, or
we have several really high class stories from the world of football this week.
Let's go to
where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the bullying? Do you want to start with the raping or the domestic abuse?
Well, geez, those are all very, very good topics.
Yeah.
It's time for Zach's tabs. Let's do Zach's tabs. You pick the one you want.
Well, the one I have open right now is domestic abuse.
Let's do that.
Let's kick off with some domestic abuse.
Let's beat some women.
Have you
Just
guys
like we do in the 60s?
Have you guys seen the video of Ray Rice dragging his unconscious fiancée out of an elevator?
No.
Oh.
Are you serious?
This is important to the story.
Is he?
I would think so.
Is he dragging her by the hair?
No, she's just a floppy body at this point.
Oh, okay. Because if it was the hair, then that would just be like that would put it over the top.
Well, the story was told that Rice and his fiancée had a minor altercation, quote unquote, at an Atlantic City hotel.
Nothing good happens in Atlantic City.
So Ray Rice was arrested, and now the video, TMZ Sports found a security camera video of Ray Rice pulling his unconscious fiancée out of the elevator. And of course, minor altercations rarely come with unconscious people.
Bodies.
The story is that Rice knocked out his fiancée after she spit on him after a very minor physical altercation, as their lawyers are calling it.
Baby, wake up. Tell him you tripped.
TMZ then reached out to Rice's attorney for comment, and and the attorney said, released a statement. However, the video that's being posted by TMZ Sports is not the complete event, but is merely the end result of what transpired.
If the end result is a woman who's unconscious, then that's pretty telling, don't you think?
We'll assure the public that when this matter is fully tried and completed, you'll have a better understanding of what happened, and we ask the public to reserve any judgment until all the facts come out. Here's my judgment. He's dragging an unconscious woman out of an elevator in which they had a minor physical altercation. So Ray Rice, one of the 3 stars of the week.
Who's our second star of the week?
We'll go with rape. Date rape, in fact. Former NFL safety and current NFL Network analyst as of a week ago, Darren Sharper.
I heard about this.
With 11 or 12 different counts of date rape. In 7 cases of the 4 states, law enforcement in Arizona, Nevada, Louisiana are all actively investigating claims against Sharper on allegations that he drugged and sexually assaulted women.
Here's my thing. Okay, you're an NFL player. I'm assuming some of this happened during his playing career.
Yeah.
So believe me, I'm pretty sure there are no shortage of ready, willing, and able women for you. Why would you need to do this? Unless you're just a sick fuck of a person.
He's probably a sick fuck of a person.
Yeah, I mean, it just boggles my mind. But hang him by his balls. That's fine, and just leave him there for a few days. Yeah. But all right, who's our number 1 star of the week?
Well, we go back to our good old friend down in Miami.
Richie
Incognito.
Yeah, he's going to have to. he's going to have to work to do better than these two, but okay.
I was going to say, between the domestic abuse and the date rape, Richie Incognito, who merely harassed and bullied a coworker, is the best human being on this list.
Yeah, he's a real Renaissance man by comparison, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the report that outlined the full investigation into the Richard Incognito and Jonathan Martin case came up, and everything in here is terrible.
Yeah.
Have you seen the full report?
I've seen bits and pieces.
I've read it. Yeah.
I'm just going to list off things. I'm not going to read what's actually in here because you probably couldn't actually read them. Incognito kept a fine book for the team's quote-unquote kangaroo court,
right,
in which he fined player for cracking under emotional stress, and so he used that to try and cover up evidence. There's several racial taunts of Jonathan Martin, jokes about shooting black people, sexually explicit comments about Jonathan Martin's sister, racial taunting of an Asian American trainer, homophobic taunting of a different player who was revealed to be a offensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills, racial taunts of Jonathan Martin. When all these things came out, I actually posed this question on my own sports talk show, Sports Rock Radio, on ocrockradio.com, Saturdays from noon to 3. Is all, like, more than any other sport, despite, the culture of maybe the NBA or, the terrible drug problems in baseball, the NFL has more of these stories than any other sport.
Oh, yeah.
The NFL is full of terrible, terrible people.
Right. And I don't know what sort of breaking point it needs to reach for people to just not celebrate these kind of terrible people. Because, we try to bring down a guy last week for being – or some of the NFL community tries to bring down a guy for coming out that he's gay. Mm-hmm. But yet we continue to employ people that bully, that rape, that
drag
knock out their fiancés.
And drag them unconscious through a hotel lobby.
That murder people, that sell drugs, that tear up strip clubs, that shoot themselves in the leg, literally.
That was just funny.
Well, yeah.
You asked the question. I don't think there is a point because you just covered all of it. What has to happen? We had a wide receiver kill a guy while drunk driving. Then he got an 8-game suspension.
8-game suspension for killing a man.
We've had
it was just manslaughter. It wasn't murder.
The Tagliabue era, gentlemen. For those who want to return to that,
the Ray Lewis thing.
Wasn't the Dante Stallworth thing a Goodell thing though?
No,
I don't remember, but I don't know that there is.
Lest we forget Michael Vick killing dogs.
Right, exactly. I don't know if there is a point because football is so huge in our culture, especially the NFL. Right. I don't know, and if this stuff hasn't done it, I don't know what would. I mean, what would?
And the thing is too, though, there is a lot of these stories, and I mean, God, you forget who was the wide receiver for the Lions last year that just could not get himself straight. Anyway,
Titus Young,
the Boise State guy, right?
Yeah. You have all these stories, but at the same time, there still are plenty of good guys in the NFL. There's a new one of these stories every single day, almost, in the NFL. Do you think the NFL eventually needs to step in and get rid of all these guys like this?
The NFL, I don't know if they need to step in to get rid of guys like this. I think.
But what could they even do though? Because you don't know until they do it.
You need two things. You need a massive educational program, and I know it might seem simplistic, but you really do need a program that everybody in the league needs. Do it annually. Do it like an annual thing. You need to renew. You need to renew something, and you go to a class, and they just teach you to not be a goddamn idiot. And then on top of so the NFL needs to take an active role in trying to steer these players away from these destructive habits.
I think they do that in a rookie symposium, and that's
that's just for rookies. I mean, I'm talking about everybody in the NFL every year needs to go through this course. Yeah. Even if you've been in the league for 10 years, you still need to do it. Secondly, you need a stricter. I don't want to say zero tolerance, but it might get to that point.
I think we might be at that point where you need a zero tolerance policy. If you get arrested or if you get charged like for not necessarily just arrested, but formally charged with up to they would have to set some sort of baseline. They would probably have to say certain crimes or whatever. But if you get charged for something, you're out of the league immediately. Done.
Yeah,
over. You shot. You blew it.
I would say, in fairness, if you're convicted, because there are going to be people that are innocent that get charged, but
if you're found guilty,
that's what I was looking for. Was
if you were found guilty,
right?
You had problems like this in like the mid '90s and '80s in the NBA, and that was just because of the quote unquote thug culture that came up, the quote unquote hip hop culture of that time,
right.
And for the most part, that's been stemmed. That there's still plenty of issues, but not nearly to the point where they used to be, and clearly not even close to what the NFL does, and baseball not even close, and hockey. You never hear any bad things about.
That's what I love about hockey.
Everyone's just a polite Western Canadian boy from Alberta.
I mean, what was the last thing you ever heard of? Like Mike Denton, who tried to set out to organize a hit on a guy.
Yeah.
Remember him?
I remember that.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's that's the thing, though. Is I say that, but as soon as the football comes back, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Well, to be fair too, though, you're right. We hear about this stuff every day, but the overwhelming majority of NFL players don't do things like this.
Sure.
And part of it too might be just that the NFL is so huge that anything like this is magnified more than it would be, say, if it was a professional golfer or anything along those lines, a stock car driver, whatever. It's just because it's the NFL, everything's magnified. I like the idea of if you're convicted, you're gone. There's no 3 strikes and you're out. You get one at bat, you blow it, and guess what? You go home. Simple as that.
I'm just going to echo what Zach said earlier. People are talking about Michael Sam perhaps not being fit for an NFL locker room because he's gay, and yet,
Yeah, how silly
here's
does that
what
sound?
we have.
When you compare that to that laundry list of stuff we just ran off, how ridiculous does it sound to say a gay player might be a disruption in the locker room, like a murderer isn't? Like a rapist isn't, like a guy that beats women isn't. If that's the case, where the gay guy is more of a problem in the locker room than all these other things are, then that's a problem that's way bigger than a guy's sexuality, as far as I'm concerned.
They just need to take a more proactive approach. I'm really in favor of coming down hard. At this point, you just need to make it clear that if you do this kind of shit, you're going to lose your job.
What was the reaction to it on your sports show, Zach?
Well, I mean, I would tell you if I knew.
Oh,
but no one. It's an internet. It's a community college internet radio station on Saturday afternoon. I guarantee you, if there was anyone listening, it was one person. It was probably my grandfather.
Well, I will listen this week.
Who I gave the URL to before I left.
Mike, you and I, we both promise we will listen this Saturday, right?
Well, the other problem is I wouldn't know either because we can't take phone calls. So.
Well,
can you set up like a text thing so I could like instant message you during the show?
Wait a minute. So how long is your show?
3 hours.
So you got to sit there and talk for 3 hours without callers or anything to interact with?
Nope.
Damn, man, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's funny. The first time I did it, like as I've done it the first 2 times, I realized how much prep actually needs to go into doing something like that. Because the first time I'm like, I can wing it, and then like I had all these tabs open. I had my list of topics. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be good, and I did it. And but once I did all that stuff, that was an hour and a half.
Right.
And then I was sitting there like, oh crap. So then I took extended musical breaks and and furiously Googled things.
Yeah, 3 hours is a long time if you've got no interaction whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm working on trying to create segments and drops and stuff like that.
If it was football season, you could be like Zach's Lock of the Week.
Well, see, that's the thing, too, is had I started this last semester, it would have been great. The problem is I decided to start it at the worst possible time on the sports calendar.
Yes.
Like, because it was NBA All-Star break. It was the Olympics, so there's no hockey. There's no football. Like, it's that weird lapse in between, the end of football season and the draft. Spring training had just started, but it's like, pitchers and catchers reported. And so I pulled something out of my ass about Mike Trout for like 10 minutes. But
thankfully, the good people in the National Football League have made this week a bit more interesting for you.
Yeah, well, I have I have things. I'm accumulating my tabs for Saturday.
Well, I will tell you this from